5-star appliances so you can come back to a home full of savings. Discover more ways to save at ComEd.com/home savings. ComEd, powering lives.
Driving it home with Patti Vazquez, Patti Vazquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vazquez.
Hello, and I hope that you are having a wonderful celebration wherever you are on this Thanksgiving Day. We are live, and we are broadcasting from the WCPT 820 studios. Me and Lady B are hanging out here with you. She's been working today, and I brought her a box of Anderson's chocolates, and I know that she was like, you didn't have to do that, and I know what it's like to sort of, I like working on holidays. I like being here with you. You're part of my family, too, but I also, Anderson's chocolates have a special place in my heart. They have wonderful hand-dipped chocolates. They have 3 locations, and I worked with them for years at another station, and they always wrote me lovely letters about the work that I did, not just like broadcasting and talking about their chocolates, but also what I did working in Springfield. So I'm grateful for them, and I wanted to share that with Lady B and her family as well. I hope that you are enjoying your day. I know that this day can bring a lot of joy, and I will be honest, it also brings a lot of stress for some people. Maybe it's worrying about having the traditions the way you remember them. I mean, whether it's the mashed potatoes be exactly they were when you were a kid, or having exactly the right different sides, and sometimes you have to travel and be at someone else's place for Thanksgiving and it's not quite what you thought it was going to be. For me, a lot of the stress comes from cleaning the house. I don't know if anyone else is like me. I will clean up until the last minute that folks are supposed to come over. We have our friend Elliot who's going to join us tonight for Thanksgiving. We are doing our Thanksgiving dinner this evening after my show, and I know my mom is cooking right now, making her cranberry chutney, and she's making green beans and salad, and we have the sweet potatoes going, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and the gravy and turkey. And again, that's another thing. Like, the food can be stressful for some folks. Those who we're making sure that their guests who might be vegan or vegetarian or have other dietary needs, that can cause a lot of stress. So if you are listening, well, if you're listening, you're listening. I don't know if you're listening, but I want you to just, as I ask you on days when we're talking about it, and issues that really get us riled up, whether it's politics and racism and injustice. Today, the stress might just be trying to get through the day, the emotional drama that might be unfolding at your house, or you're excited and happy, and in which case, maybe you can go, hey, at least that's not me. But let me know how your Thanksgiving is going. 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278. We would love to hear from you on this day of celebration. And while I was cleaning today, one thing that kept going through my mind, and this is something that happens to me every year, is I have a friend named Jim Ruel. He is a stand-up comedian. We started out together in the 90s, and I thought it would be great to have Jim on today. He's a Native American. He has appeared in television and movies and on stand-up comedy stages all over the world, and I'm excited to have him on today at 5:30. And I want to tell you a little bit about that backstory as I introduce him, and I know he's going to be embarrassed because it took me, Lady B, until 4:30 to go, I think about him every Thanksgiving. Why aren't I inviting him on the show? So I'm excited to introduce you to Jim Ruel, who really kind of helps me define Thanksgiving as well, because I am a part Native American. My mother's family was from northern Mexico, from a native nation called Cualitican, and that's they were very small bands of Native Americans. It's not an entire nation. There was not a tribe assigned when it comes to federal recognition, because they weren't like this one united group, and they were along the Rio Grande Valley, which is now southern Texas and northeastern Mexico, and the groups were hunters and gatherers. And the first time that the Europeans encountered them, or they encountered Europeans, was in the 16th century, and their population was decimated by these encounters, whether it was disease or slavery or small scale wars, in order to protect their own survival. And that's something that I think about more now that I'm getting older, thinking about what my own history is, while we're having these conversations every day about what it means to talk about our past, whether it's history or oral stories. And I think about that more and more every year, and I struggle today with posting anything celebratory. And that's why I probably started the show out with stress. And you're like, hey, Patty, it's a day of celebration. Enjoy it. It is. It is all of that. It also is, where does this come from? Where do our traditions come from? It's based in our history. So I want to talk a little bit about that with Jim coming up after 5:30. He's probably listening right now going, okay, this is a lot more than you told me it was going to be. So we're going to talk to him in a little bit. But right now we have our friends on hold. Judy from Niles. Thank you so much for calling, Judy. Happy Thanksgiving. How are you doing today?
We're doing just great. We had a little bit of Thanksgiving before. A week before, because my stepdaughter said her daughter would be out of town. So we've had one, but my husband and I peeled and cooked and had our own today. We picked up a ham that his son sent us from that, whatever that southern ham thing is. And, so we had decided we would pick that up, and we had that. And we have pie waiting for us, so I not only am finished, and I didn't have to clean the rest of the house.
Oh.
That's another thing to be thankful for, because nobody was coming here. My son is going to his in-laws. I hope that goes well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm with you. The big part of the stress is cleaning the house, isn't it?
I know. If somebody's coming here, you have to make sure your bathroom's real clean, and you make your bed, and you throw everything in boxes and under the couch and in closets, and then for weeks you can't find it.
Yep. And the thing is, and then you get sucked into the sorting, right? Do I need to keep and then you get, I don't know about you, but I have ADHD when it comes to cleaning, and I should just be doing the general cleaning. But yeah, I get into the sort of like, well, what's this from? Or like memories are stirred too when you try to pull out all that, photographs and letters and things like that too.
Oh, we still have to do that. My husband tends to be a teeny bit of a hoarder, so I looked at the basement the other night, and it's just disaster. We did manage to get a couple of old briefcases and overnight bags, a couple of grips. One of them that was so bad they wouldn't even take it. It wasn't that they're bad. It's just they're big grips. Luggage, and
right.
People don't use it on airlines anymore. They weigh too much, so they wouldn't take it. So we had to put it at the curb. Hope that somebody took it.
Somebody's bound to come by and pick up something like that.
Yeah, but
Judy.
There's so much down there. I don't even want to look at it. So I was thinking when you were talking about the American Indian, I do have DNA that walked off the Mayflower, and I always thought, well, they could have hurt them just breathing on them. Hopefully I don't think they knew that at the time. I hope not.
Right. Well, and again, we have the long view of history to see what the decimation was. In central Mexico, it was up to 25 million of the members of these tribes were the victim of wars and disease. The population was absolutely decimated. So, unfortunately, the war part, it was absolutely conscious, of course, because they saw the Europeans coming in, saw something they wanted, and if they couldn't make them a slave, they were slaughtered. And it's hard. I know that people are like, oh, come on, Patty, it's Thanksgiving. This is part of the day. This is
Well, if you just concentrate on the thankful part, I think we can all agree that taking a day to be thankful about things is a good.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
I'm thankful for my culture that is also based in Native American heritage, and I'm thankful for my family. And lots of folks are calling. I'm thankful for the passage of the Build Back Better. I'm grateful for having the Biden administration, and folks are calling in with what they're thankful for too. What are you especially thankful for today, Judy?
Oh, like I told Lady B, for you and Lady B, I'm so happy that you're back in my life. It's great.
Thank you, Judy. I'm glad to have you back in my life.
People that you bring with you.
Yes, thank you. I know Elliot was supposed to be here, but he had a little bit of an emergency at home, so I'll make sure he's on again soon.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, you and your family have a great day.
Happy Thanksgiving, Judy. Thank you so much. Be well. And I didn't even, I completely forgot today was a football day. I also forgot that we have a lot of folks that we have some folks on Facebook who are watching saying that, let me see, Gary says, it's a Thanksgiving miracle. The Bears won. Bridget, happy Thanksgiving from Disney Springs. I love that you're listening to us while you're enjoying yourself and celebrating. Lamont, hi all. Good to see you as well. And Heather is on the phone right now, and I'll get to Heather and then Mark after the break. Hi, Heather. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I figured I would call and say hello and say happy Thanksgiving, and I heard you mentioning the Native Americans, and I wish I knew more, but it does touch a part of my heart. I went to school in Cassopolis. Not far from there is Dowagiac. There was a tribe, or there is some Indian, there is some kind of culture still there in Dowagiac. And one of my friends has a son, and his son is a giver, a lovely human being. He went a few years ago, and he helped with the folks that were, I'm trying to remember what, there was something going on that people were upset with Obama with, and then Obama decided that no, it wasn't going to happen. I think it was about some oil or something, which is beside the point, but it still is. But anyhow, what happened was he went with some of the people who were protesting, and he gave them food and blankets, and he did so much for them. I know it may not seem like it's a lot, but it is. And, I'm so pleased that I know of my friend's son, and that he's such a giver. And it's just, to me, it's cool, but,
I know.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. I know, and those are the things that we look to is how are we contributing? How are we, what are we doing? And we have to do it all the time, but how do we play our part in this? This connectivity between all of us. It
just, that when I saw that on the news several years ago, I was so pleased for him. And I just, I don't know if he's still in the area,
right,
or what he's doing now, but I just thought that was really very sweet and giving and loving.
And we need more of that.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I have to run to the break, Heather. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you to everyone. Thank you for always checking in with us and hanging out on our Facebook live stream. And everyone, I see that Karen has joined us, and Bridget and Lamont, all of our regular friends. I love that you guys have sort of a community there, and I encourage folks to join you too for the great conversation. So thank you for being a part of that, Heather.
All righty, bye-bye.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Take a break here. We'll take Mark's call when we come back. If you want to join us, please don't hesitate. 773-763-9278. You can call or text us to that number. Back in a moment on WCPT 820. We're driving it. I don't know if we're driving it home because you might be where you need to be. But still, here we are. I'm Patti Vazquez hanging out with you. And Lady B is with us too.
Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is a company town, and the business is incarceration.
A new original series from the co-creator of Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan.
Your influence within the prisons is unique.
Jeremy Renner.
We don't break the law, we bend it.
Diane Wiest.
You fix-it men, part-time gangsters.
And Kyle Chandler.
If you want to know who's running what, come to me. I'm the mayor of Kingstown.
Mayor of Kingstown, now streaming on Paramount Plus. Go to ParamountPlus.com to try it for free.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want your basement to be dry most of the time? If so, Permaseal is not the company for you. At Permaseal, we believe your basement should be dry all the time, no matter how hard it rains. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. I've heard many homeowners say that their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't worry about your living room or bedroom getting wet, so you should feel the same way about your basement. Call 800-421-SEAL. We offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee so you can rest assured you're getting the best value. If you want your basement dry all the time, you know who to call, Permaseal. We've helped over 450,000 homeowners across Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana since 1979 and have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
Young, best for free and better Permaseal.
Magchita muy antigiri, magchita muy hanspewa ebi, magchita muy ampigiri, magchita muy hanspewa ebi, mampewa hokahinong, dahon tani gahitai, iwe me itai, nankayari amuni ewajite, nankayari amuni ewajite.
You're listening to Driving It Home. I'm your host, Patti Vazquez. That's Ulali, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that group in just a little bit, at least how I had the opportunity to see them perform in Milwaukee in the 90s. And my friend Jim Ruel, who introduced me to not only them, but a lot of the Native American culture that's here in the Midwest. Mark is on the line, and I am grateful for this too. Mark, what are you grateful for on this Thanksgiving, Mark?
Well, I'm grateful that the good Lord let me wake up this morning.
Yes.
And I'm healthy, and I got all my faculties, and I'm speaking with you. So,
that's kind of you. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, but what I'm most grateful for is that verdict yesterday. I was, Patty, my heart was racing 100 miles an hour yesterday before that verdict because I know how this thing could have went, you know, with 11 white jurors and only one black down there in the South. You know, that could have that could have been a disaster yesterday. But I'm glad to see that there is some right-thinking kind of people that's down there in the South now, because this thing could have been a disaster. So I'm very, very thankful for that verdict yesterday.
I agree. I mean, I felt like we were. Did you feel as cynical going into the last moments of the Rittenhouse trial, or did that affect your perception of what was going to happen yesterday? I mean, because I felt that Rittenhouse was going to be found not guilty, but I wasn't sure about yesterday.
Patty, that was pretty much written on the wall there, and and then people was talking about, well, this is not political. But what was the first thing that happened? Tucker Carlson following this guy with a camera crew all during the trial. Then this guy goes down to Mar-a-Lago to visit with Donald Trump. So how come people say this was not political? It was strictly political. The right wanted this guy free because they figured that they wanted to do something that he had the guts to do that they wouldn't do. That's why they calling this guy a hero, because they wanted if they were out there, they wanted to do the same thing, okay? And then they figured Kyle Rittenhouse had the guts to do it, So that's what that was about. That's all that was about.
Well, that's exactly right.
Out here.
But that's exactly what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. Was these guys felt it was their job, and this has happened for generations, for hundreds of years in this country, where somebody who is considered other, dark-skinned, whether in particular black men who are walking down the street or going for a run, whether they whistling at a girl or making eye contact with somebody and being disrespectful, drinking from the wrong water fountain, or jogging in a neighborhood where someone decided they didn't belong.
Exactly. I don't know why white males they intimidated by us for some reason. I don't. These cowards had to have guns. Okay, now if they so tough, why didn't they just fight the guy? Because they cowards, Patty. That's why. They are cowards, you know? And they know they would have got their butts kicked, so they had to shoot the guy. That reminded me like going back to slave day when the slave masters would track you down, and then when they finally caught up to you, they would kill you. That's what that was. That was a modern-day lynching. That's all that was.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, we still got this stuff. This is 2021. We about to head in 2022, and we still got this nonsense. And let's not make no mistake, Patty. If it hadn't been for the mom pressing this issue, they would have swept this thing under the rug. Because if you go back, the first two prosecutors, they dismissed this stuff. They said it wasn't nothing to see here. Go on about your way, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But she kept fighting, and she got the prosecutor to look into this. Right-thinking prosecutor, and the first prosecutor, Jackie Johnson, she needs to be indicted, which she has been already. She needs to serve some time in jail also for sweeping this stuff under the rug because she was buddy-buddy with these guys, okay?
Yes. And if it wasn't for the video, again, how many times has this happened that there isn't video, that there isn't follow-up? This is the same thing that happened with the young man in Colorado who was killed by the police officers who was on the spectrum, and the young violinist who was saying, you know, I didn't hurt anybody. Why are you doing this to me? And they injected him with ketamine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I know that case.
Yep. And this is...
It's just...
Yep.
It's just, Patty, it's just, we just got to keep on fighting, and hopefully, you know, we can turn this stuff around. You know, it's just, you know, I just sometimes just get frustrated because I think the wheels of justice is turning too slow. But we got to keep on pushing, you know. We can't give up and just keep fighting the good fight.
Yep. That's, hey, look, we'll get knocked down once in a while. We'll get upset, but we dust ourselves off and keep showing up. I keep telling people this isn't a sprint. You know, we can't burn ourselves out. You can't be, and what I mean when I say that, by the way, is that there are so many things along the way that will keep you from showing up, whether it's you become cynical or depressed. And I get that. Take time to take care of yourself, to heal in whatever way you need to. And know that you will show up. You will wake up to fight another day. Just like you said, Mark, when we started, you're grateful for waking up this morning. And I talked to a black man who had been wrongfully imprisoned for 26 years a few years ago. My friend Laura Caldwell, who we lost to breast cancer 2 years ago, she worked with him to win his release, and she had a big celebration for him, and he was so I can't imagine leaving prison and still having the sort of energy and positivity that this man had. And I asked him how he did it. He said, every day I woke up, I knew it was another day. I had a chance at life.
Well, Patty, you must didn't hear about the guy they just released. I'm in Missouri. This guy, Kevin Strickland. He was locked up for 43 years. And this guy don't get any compensation because in Missouri have a law where they don't pay people who's been wrongly convicted any money. So this guy, they have to set up a GoMe fund so this guy can have some kind of money. How crazy is that?
Right.
43 years.
Yeah.
And this guy, they interviewed this guy. He had no anger. I'm like, man, we some of the most forgiving people on the planet. This guy had no ill will. He was like, I'm not angry with anybody. He said he just wanted to live out the rest of his life. He wanted to go to the ocean. That's what he said. He wanted to go and see the ocean. You know, could you imagine? I would be raged with anger.
I knew what you were almost going to say. I knew what you were almost going to say, Mark. Yeah, I would be enraged. There are things that happen every single day that I get, bogged down with the negativity, with the pushback. I'm going through something right now, and I was thinking about this. I had to take a break from social media yesterday because there was an appointment session for a House seat, for a legislative seat in Illinois. Mm-hmm. And, folks are like, this is outrageous. Not everybody got to, the system isn't working. The machine gets to decide. And I was like, yeah, I've been through the machine. I told you it was like this. But because their friend had been appointed last time, but their friend didn't get appointed this time, they're outraged. And I'm trying to shine a light on how bad it can get. And they're like, well, you're just bitter. Well, then what are you doing on here complaining that your guy didn't get the job? It's a selective outrage that people have. And you will run into that, and you have to pace yourself and go, why am I doing this? Why am I pushing back? It's so that others that behind us that need the justice, that need the right thing to be done, we have to keep showing up for each other, Mark, and that's what you and I do every single day. Exactly.
It's always a pleasure conversing with you, and you have the rest of the good Thanksgiving, okay?
You as well. Happy Thanksgiving, Mark.
All right.
Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi to everybody in St. Louis. You have to go to every single house right now in St. Louis, Mark, and say Happy Thanksgiving for me.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care. Let's take a break here, and when we come back, I'll introduce you to my friend Jim Ruel. He's a comedian, and he's somebody who's I don't think he realizes how much of a role he has played in my life when it comes to being aware and trying to be more present and what my heritage means, not just to me, but to my family, to my community, and how I need to keep talking about it, keep showing up as we are talking about, to keep showing up for each other. More after this. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Let's take a break.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Lower your energy bills and reduce your carbon footprint with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago traffic update.
Inbound set of the Eisenhower, Lake Cook to Montrose at just over 15 minutes. Outbound Edens, Montrose out to Lake Cook at 15. Inbound set of the Kennedy, a small hang up at Randolph. O'Hare to downtown at 25 minutes. Outbound set of the Kennedy, downtown out to O'Hare, just 20. Inbound set of the Eisenhower, delays at Ashland, 390 to the Old Post Office at a half hour. Outbound set of the Eisenhower, Old Post Office to 390 at a half hour. Inbound Stevenson, 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive at 25 minutes. Outbound Stevenson, DuSable Lakeshore out to 355 at 25 minutes. Outbound Ryan, busy now at 76 to 95th.
Right now at Wendy's, see why everyone is raving about their brand new fries. Natural cut, skin on with a hint of sea salt and guaranteed to be hot and crispy or they'll replace them. You know, the way fries should be. Try Wendy's guaranteed hot and crispy fries today at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hi everyone, it's me, Tooth 19. I can't believe I'm watching my brother, Tooth 30, get his first root canal today. I told him that black hole didn't look pretty. It got so painful it kept all 32 of us up last night. In agony. Thank goodness Total Dentistry could see him right away. Oh, there's the needle. But wait, he didn't even flinch. I thought a root canal would be much worse. My brother, 230, is sleeping through all of this. The Total Dentistry team makes this look so easy and simple. Maybe it's because they do this every day. Well, my brother 30 is done now, and he doesn't even remember a thing. Maybe now we can all get a good night's rest. I love Total Dentistry because they know teeth are people too. Total Dentistry, 847-358-2477 or visit totaldentistry.org. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
To our elders who teach us of our creation and our past, so we may preserve Mother Earth for ancestors yet to come, we are the land.
This is dedicated to our relatives before us, thousands of years ago, and to the 150 million who were exterminated across the Western Hemisphere in the first 400 years' time, starting in 1492.
To those who have kept their homelands, and to the nations extinct due to mass slaughter, slavery, deportation, and disease unknown to them, and to the ones who are subjected to the same treatment today. To the ones who survived the relocations, and the ones who died along the way. To those who carried on traditions and lived strong among their people. To those who left their communities by force or by choice, and through generations no longer know who they are.
To those who search and never find, to those that turn away the so-called non-accepted, to those that bring us together, and to those living outside, keeping touch.
This is from the incredible group Ulali, who I had the pleasure of learning about when my very good friend, and I say very good, we haven't talked to each other in such a long time, but I have such fond memories and connections to comedian, actor, and producer Jim Ruel, who joins us. We performed together in the 90s, and he brought me to a powwow in Wisconsin. I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to tell Jim how much of an impact our connection has had throughout my life. I'm going to get weepy because I'm so excited that you said yes to joining me. Jim's probably like, how much of this song are you going to play? Do you have the rights for this? Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
Hey, it's fine. People steal our stuff all the time. We're used to it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate you joining us. How are you doing on this day that you call not Thanksgiving? What do you call today?
I'm Thursday. No. It's having a good day. Just hanging out at home with my daughter and the woman, and trying to cook food.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because like the turkey and the potatoes, my tribe didn't eat that, so
right.
It's all different.
A little different. I was cleaning today, and I actually play this music because we went to the powwow in Milwaukee in the 90s, and I bought the CD, and I've always kept it and play it whenever I remembered. I'm like, I need that song. This is one of my favorites from this album. But there's you don't call it Thanksgiving Day. Something I remember, we were working at Zany's, and every time I'm thinking about Thanksgiving, I call it Your Welcome Day, just because of you.
Oh, that's right. You were leading up to my joke, and I totally blew it. I'm rusty, okay? There's been a pandemic, and I haven't performed a whole lot.
No. It was not. I didn't also tell you that I was going to make you do your material. But I know that you continue to do a lot of work. I was reading some of your bio, and first of all, let me say this. I miss you, Jim. How are you? Let's do it that way.
I miss you too. I was like so excited. I saw a message from you, and then you said, "Come on the air." I was like, "Oh no, I got to get it together." I was like totally vegging out and consuming grapes of some format, and but I was so excited to hear from you. Yeah, I would know why we haven't like talked or hung out, and I guess because I moved to California ages ago.
Yeah, everybody did. You and Tom Clark, who was another comedian from Milwaukee. Do you guys ever?
Yeah.
Is it like hey, do you know that guy from Milwaukee? Do you ever see Tom Clark?
Yeah, we do bump into each other. Yeah, and so he does. I mean, he does still stand up, and then he also had his improv troupe that reformed out here under the name Old Milwaukee. So I'd always go see them, and a lot of the improv guys I knew before I did stand up. So it's kind of nice to just reconnect with the Wisconsin people that are out here.
And you also have been a part of Native American specials, comedy specials, and it has to be a very small community. Everyone knows each other. That's what it is for Latinas, for women in comedy too. Do you guys have that same sort of group that everyone just you're part of that group, and we're sort of brushed aside as just being that, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we finally have enough to be called a group of us. But when I was starting out, it really wasn't even that. It was just like a handful of us. And mostly ones that are performing like for tribal communities and kind of doing that. It's like sort of like the native circuit. But very few are actually performing still for like the comedy club circuit.
Right.
So I would say most people still have no idea that there's kind of a native comedy renaissance happening right now.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because we're having all these conversations about critical race theory and people getting upset and saying, oh, we don't want our kids to feel bad about themselves. And it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this country. We can't stop talking about it. And that's why I always carry those moments of having gone to that powwow with you. And I try to learn more. I've tried to learn more about my own. My mother is from northern Mexico, and she's from an ancient tribe, the Cuauhtémoc. And people probably have a lot of questions for you, and you grew up with people making jokes. We both did. We get sort of sidelined to just what people assume about being Native American or people of color, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, well, people really don't know anything about us, so they know like a couple things, and that's about it. And that's really all. When I was starting out doing stand-up, that's all I could talk about, because if you have to explain everything, it just doesn't work.
No.
So that's the challenge of it, I would say, is that people really, I mean, in this modern day, they know nothing about us. And like if I were to ask, I live in Los Angeles now, and if I were to ask people on the street, well, name some California tribes, I would just kind of get a blank look, and they might mention one of the casinos or something.
Right.
But it's actually, California has more tribes than any other state in the country located in it.
I did not know that. Is that from being relocated?
I'm not surprised. No, just kidding.
Is that from being relocated or from the original tribes of California?
There were just a lot of tribes here, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same with my mother's. My mother's ancestors were along the Rio Grande, and like I said, from Cuauhtémoc, and it is the kind of thing that people don't want to know, or it's just been all lost. There are tribes that we will never have records of because they were nomads, they were hunters and gatherers, and moved with the seasons. What would you like people to know about the groups that were from Wisconsin, or your group in particular?
I guess just that we're still, we still exist, and we're as tribal nations that are like, basically we're political entities under the umbrella of the United States, but we still have our own views that we are sovereign nations, even given that we've been in this situation for a few hundred years now, and that's where it is, and that's what it is. I think a lot of people are don't understand that or don't have troubles coming to grips with that. But that's the reality of it, that I'm basically a dual citizen of my tribe and then also the United States.
It's such a complicated place to be and to explain to folks, because what does a sovereign nation mean? Because no one really recognizes that. And if people, you can't go down the street and be like, hey, I got dual citizenship here.
Yeah, I don't think people realize when they step on a reservation that they're stepping outside of the state. So the reservations in Wisconsin, they're actually not in Wisconsin. They're adjacent to Wisconsin.
Right. They're
like little islands in Wisconsin, basically.
Exactly. They are sovereign, and people don't recognize that. Was that part of what drew you into comedy? Was wanting to tell this story and not knowing how to amplify it, but finding a microphone?
I don't know that really was. I think it was more. My mom had a very tough upbringing, and then as well she had, the 7 of us, and that's pretty challenging being a mom raising 7 kids. And comedians that I grew up with that I loved, I would play those tapes for her, and she would just die laughing, and that meant a lot to me that they brought that much laughter to her and joy, and that's what was my motivation. It was very personal, and that's my motivation in comedy. It's really just to make people laugh. It's hard to talk about being native on stage and not educate people. That's kind of inherent in it. Like I was saying, people just don't know that much.
Right.
So,
who are some?
It's quite a burden to take on to try to educate the world about us. It's just kind of impossible almost, especially when we don't really get access to much mass media at all, ever.
Well, then we should have a regular segment. Whenever you want to talk about something, hey, if something ever gets under your skin, I'll make sure you have the number for me, and I've got your number, but just message me and be like, hey, does anyone know that this is happening right now? We can do that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah, I would love to do. We could do a regular segment if you want, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on everything, so I would, that'd be great, but to bring on people that know, that are more, familiar with different issues. And
100% send people my way, please.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this. Then when you were, because for me growing up, my favorite comedians were guys like George Carlin and Richard Pryor. Who were some of the comedians that you played for your mom that made her laugh?
Well, I didn't bring it up because it's Bill Cosby was the main one.
It's okay. It's hard, isn't it?
She loved because he told family stories, and that's what she really related to. And
it's hard because I saw him. I didn't want to see him perform. I think it was 2011 or so. A bunch of comics were going to see him at a festival, and I didn't want to go because I knew some of this story in the background. But he was a master. There's just no getting around that.
Yeah, being a master storyteller doesn't mean you also don't have other things about you.
I'm just saying, what shaped us and made us want to become comedians, we have to wrestle with that a little bit. But it's how complicated show business is. A comic who comes up and they only have look, you and I, if we have our headshot somewhere, they only call us if they want the Latina or the Native American rather than the talented person.
No, I have a story for that.
Yes.
There was a club that I don't think they exist anymore in Milwaukee, but they told me, the booker told me that they had gotten a call from an Indian comedian. They said, "Oh, we already have one." And she told me, "It's like, Jim, I told them we already have one." I was like, "Oh shoot, there's a quota of just one of us."
Exactly. Yeah.
And the punchline was it was the other kind of Indian. So that's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's how much of an impact does that have? Do you think? How much? When we, I don't want people to feel bad when they say Indian, but what does it mean to you to remind people, or just be cognizant of the fact that it's Native? Or do you prefer Native American, or do you not mind if people say Indian?
I really don't mind. I really think that either term is fairly problematic, and
right.
The main issue is just the lack of overall education beyond a simple term, and then beyond that, there's the issue of a bit of education where people will maybe read a book on it and oh, I'm an expert now.
Right.
It was I was watching the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie Dune, but I love to spoil movies. And but the book came out in the 60s, so deal with with all the that there is.
Exactly. Go ahead.
But at one point, so this character, they're basically colonizers, and they're changing out one colonizer group for another colonizer, and they're the good colonizers. So there's no such thing. And so it's a fantasy. It's not really sci-fi. It's more fantasy. And the leader's son turns out to be the Messiah for the indigenous people of this land. I'm like, oh, good. It's like Dance with Wolves and Avatar and everything else. And there's an actual line that is like, you will know he's the Messiah because he will know your ways as if he grew up to them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so he's like an Indian studies major. I'm like, oh, good.
This is all exactly the way I thought it would play out. This is something that I've been thinking a lot about and it comes and goes when things change globally or in politics. Is we look at all these whether it's people storming the Capitol or rioting in the streets or people being cruel to each other. I'm like, this is not new. This has been going. For thousands of years. If we just read stories, whatever your religious background is, every religious book has stories of how one group wanted to take over another group or torturing another group. Like, we act as though it's new. It's not, though, is it, Jim?
No, and really, Thanksgiving is really just mythologizing the origins of the United States. That's what it is.
Yes.
And that's the formation of that religion, and we just kind of see what their zealots are up to these days. That are trying to push it and are worried that it's being broken down a little bit by reality and history and stuff.
Well, and that's why I'm not afraid to have these conversations on Thanksgiving. I appreciate that we're grateful, like you said, you're cooking dinner and enjoying the day. And I was like, let's talk about some real stuff too, because there are people who struggle with how do we talk about this day or Columbus Day or any of the other things. It's like, let's also shed a little bit of light on this, because if we can't talk about it on Thanksgiving, then we're not going to talk about it, are we?
Right. I think another way to look at it is, I think this is very much a trait of a lot of Native people, is that you're in our house and we're going to feed you. We'll take care of you, and it doesn't mean that you're a stranger or someone that came across the ocean or whatever it is. Like, hey, we're all human beings, and I think we lose sight of that. And I think when people get all excited about, well, look how amazing the United States is. It's like, yes, the United States has an incredible amount of wealth, and well, look at the rest of some parts of the world that don't have that, and how many people are starving right now and struggling right now, and what are we doing about that? And how we have to make sure people have clean water, and it's kind of we're very easy to ignore that fact within our own country. A number of tribes don't have access to clean water.
Yeah.
Even though that's something that's basically guaranteed in the treaties, and that's been proven. It's been fought for all the way up through the Supreme Court. So I think that's what it is. I think, to me, it's about looking beyond yourself and beyond your group, or
to not be tribal.
And to be kind of welcoming rather than vigilante, I guess.
Yes.
Another way to look at it.
Exactly. Before I let you go, because I know that you're with your family and you're cooking dinner, and I only gave you an hour's notice. Is there anything you want to make sure people know about? I know that you're part of you own your own production company, Fry Bread Productions, and you've been part of Native American and Indian film festivals. Where can people find your work?
It's, basically all I have right now are a few videos I made for some folks. And I would say it myself, there was also Tim Ramos and Vogue Jean, Pomo tribal member and Hopi tribal member. And unfortunately, my dear friend Tim passed away from COVID earlier this year. So
I'm so sorry.
I've just been kind of recovering from that and trying to put the pieces back together and bring in some new people to try and build something up. So things have been very tough, but you just try to keep moving forward. And so right now I'm working on a short about water right issues of some of the California tribes, because as you know, there's some major water issues out here, and the tribes are right in the middle of that all throughout the West and the Southwest as well.
Is there a way for folks to help support the work that you do? Perhaps, I don't know if you have any, do you take any sort of funding or donations, contributions?
I don't have anything set up for that. No,
okay.
I don't.
No worries.
Yeah, I personally, I prefer to have it as where I was raised was not just, it's an exchange of things. So
right. Well,
just accepting donations is kind of weird to me, but
fair enough. Well, at least we can talk about it whenever you want, and you let me know. I'll message you and talk about setting up a time to come back when you feel like I didn't blindside you on Thanksgiving. But
no,
I really do think about you every Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful to know you. I wish that we could still hang out, the way we did when we were kids in our 20s. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. When we were young and bright-eyed and
and a happy, very belated birthday. I just was scrolling through your Facebook page and realized I missed your birthday on November 8th, so I hope that you had a great celebration. And
I'm almost 50. It's horrifying.
I am 50, so shut up.
Oh, my gosh. That's terrible. Not kidding. But you know, when I think about you every time I hear about George Carlin. It's like, oh, my gosh, Patty. Because that time we were doing a show, and he was, like, sitting in the audience, and it was incredible.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy ride to be in comedy, and I'm glad to have a fellow traveler like you on this road with everything. And I look forward to talking to you again soon if you'll indulge me, and I promise to give you more heads up.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Have a great Thanksgiving, Jim. Thank your family for letting me take you.
Thursday.
Happy Your Welcome Day.
Yes, happy Your Welcome Day. Big wish.
Take care. That's Jim Ruel. I adore him so much, and I'm so grateful that he was able to join us. Let's take a break here and head into the home stretch for Driving It Home.
Panera believes in saying yes. Yes to clean, fresh ingredients. Yes to the new chicken sausage and pepperoni flatbread topped with rich mozzarella. Yes to delicious mac and cheese. Yes to putting it on a sandwich, creating the grilled mac and cheese sandwich. And yes to impromptu road trips to Sandwich, Illinois. Because that's living life to the flavor fullest. Get $1 delivery when you order on our app. Panera. Live your yes. Pricing and product availability may vary. Visit PaneraBread.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Well, Stephanie Miller here with a few words about something good that came out of the past year. Telehealth. I mean, personal health support on your phone. What's not to love? And guess who's waiting to take your call? The Tummy Whisperer. If you have any concerns about your stomach, digestion, or overall health, talk to Renee Barish. Her clients at Digestive Health Solutions use telehealth to get help with their symptoms, discomfort, and worry from the safety of their homes. A certified digestive health specialist, Renee helps her clients address issues like acid reflux, irregularity, allergies, joint inflammation. She identifies specific digestive and nutritional imbalances, develops a plan to improve your health all on your phone. And if you prefer an office visit, Renee follows all CDC pandemic protocols, including masks, temperature checks, and vigorous sanitation. Pick up your phone, schedule a telehealth visit today. Call Digestive Health Solutions at 847-207-2034. Renee will get you feeling better. That number again, 847-207-2034, or go to thetummywhisperer.com.
Cases of anxiety in young adults.
Oops, sorry about that. I thought I was going to play some audio from a song, but I think I pushed the wrong button. So I'm just back. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My friend, comedian Jim Ruel, joined us for a wonderful conversation. And I hope that you are with the people that you love. And if you're not, I know some folks are on the road. Our good friend Tom Carmick drove down to New Orleans and sent me a photo of his picture of a big bowl of gumbo that he's enjoying down in New Orleans. And I'm going to head home, and our turkey's been in the oven for I believe the required amount of time. It's one of those days where my husband's taking care of most of the cooking, and I appreciate that, Hannah. My mom is, again, making her cranberry chutney that she makes every year, and it's delicious. I do have my favorites. My go-to, my absolute must-have, honestly, it's got to be the stuffing. But so many things go together so well. You got to have some of the cranberry for the turkey, and man, I love a good heap and pile of mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes. Everyone's got some different ideas on what they want for their sweet potatoes. I wonder if some folks walk up to the buffet or the plates are, distributed and you're like, oh, this isn't the way my mom made them. Make every Thanksgiving its own celebration. I know that we have traditions that we get sort of built up, and we have to be soft and easy on ourselves. Soften your heart for any sort of stress that might bump you a little bit, that might knock you off of your path of enjoying your time with your loved ones. I have one of my traditions is also what I have to have on at my home, if not the Wednesday before, definitely during the day while we're getting ready. I love the movie Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter, Robert Downey Jr. Anne Bancroft is amazing. Charles Durning. actually Steve Guttenberg, who is really funny, and he's kind of an uptight in-law. It is a fantastic movie. Geraldine Chaplin. You know, there's one actress in the movie who plays Holly Hunter's sister, and you know what? I feel bad that I can never remember the actress's name because she does such a great job. And there's a line in the movie, they don't get along. Holly Hunter and her sister do not get along, and it's very contentious. And there's a moment where she tells Holly Hunter, the sister tells Holly Hunter, you know, if we weren't related and I just met you on the street and you gave me your number, I'd just throw it away. And it's hard for folks who maybe don't get along with somebody in their family, whether it's your direct relatives or your cousins or in-laws. There's bound to be some stress, some conflict between folks. And it always struck me that I have family members that I haven't talked to in a long time, and we need to give space to those who are estranged from family members, and don't put extra pressure on anyone who, for whatever reason, isn't spending time or is separated from their families. It is okay to celebrate in new ways that aren't the traditional, aren't the Hallmark Channel or the greeting card image, the Norman Rockwell image of what your celebration is supposed to be. Find your own traditions, find new ways to celebrate. For me, it was hard when my father passed away. It was hard for me to imagine celebrating Thanksgiving and enjoying myself the way I had when I was a child. But I found new memories, new traditions, new ways to show my appreciation for the people in my life, including listeners like Roosevelt, who's joining us right now. Hey, Roosevelt, how are you doing today?
Patty, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to call and thank you for having the show, and an uplifting show, which is rare. Everything is always negative, pessimistic, and including myself. I'm going to throw myself in there. But
so me too. I put that in other places, and sometimes I have to manage that too. But when I come here, I try look, and you hear me get worked up sometimes. But it's always with the idea that we keep showing up for each other, and that's why I appreciate doing this show today. So thank you. How are you celebrating today?
We already ate. We always get it's like a lunch instead of a dinner, and then that turns into dinner. You know how it is. And the desserts and the whole stuff. So we're done with it for right now. If we're gonna have leftovers, And I wanted to recommend some movies.
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, real quick.
I like that.
We don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Big Chill. You Got Mail. Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving, 1973.
What's 1970?
Pieces of April. That's a good one.
Pieces of April. I love Big Chill. You know what we watched yesterday? We watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because I realized there's 80s comedies that I want to make sure.
One.
Yep, because it's culturally necessary, I think, because a joke is made all the time. Oh, you're real Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and so we watched that with Griffin. I will say Big Chill is. I agree with you. I really like that movie, and it's so funny. Do you know what star was cut from that movie?
No.
You only see his hands. He's the friend who committed suicide. It's Kevin Costner was supposed to appear in that film, and he's the reason they all get together. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, Kevin Costner, huh?
Kevin Costner, and so my husband, I'm sure, Lawrence Kasdan, who did that movie, also did the movie Silverado, and he wrote that part or gave that bigger part to Kevin Costner. If you remember, did you ever see Silverado?
I don't think so.
This is a movie I think you would this is a good Western.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that? What's that one comedian from the 80s that did a series of movies? Young Frankenstein. What's the name of that director?
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. Is that a Mel Brooks movie?
No, Silverado is a fairly straightforward Western, and it's really good. It's Kevin Kline, Brian Dennehy, Danny Glover. Kevin Costner, Linda Hunt. I'm trying to think of all. It's a really good movie, and I highly recommend it. I have to look at the whole cast, but it's just it's so good. Oh my gosh, Jeff Goldblum! It's a huge cast.
Yeah, I know that one. What's the one that they made here in Chicago with all those Latin actors? Something with the holidays. Is it Home for the Holidays?
There's
a lot of Latin actors in that one, and they recorded it here in. They filmed it here in Chicago.
I know. I remember what you're. I remember when they were filming that.
What is it, Freddie? The guy, the actor from Chicago too. Short guy, Puerto Rican.
Well,
Eddie. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Well, the movie is
Tarantino movie.
The movie is nothing like The Holidays. So let me see.
That's it. Oh, that's a great movie. I like that one a lot.
Isn't it sad that I remember when it was filming here, and of course this is the kind of comedian and actress, and I'm like, they didn't call me.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get a call to audition for that.
They should have.
Usually I get called for every Latino part. Oh, I have to go at 6:00. We got to go. Well, hey, Lady B, I don't even know what's next. Is it Rick Unger again? So another Rick Unger show today. And Roosevelt, I'm so grateful for you calling in today. It's wonderful to end the show with you. Have a great night. I'll talk to you again tomorrow, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you, Lady B. Thank you, everyone. Be happy, healthy, and safe. Take care, everyone.
If you have been financially affected by the COVID pandemic, then this message is for you. Are you among the many folks who have lost their jobs, or if you've